Alrighty, guys, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to this channel and if you enjoyed this video. So, Deontay Wilder fans will basically say anything to defend Deontay Wilder's championship run as a champion, his title defenses. Just as my opinion. Because the other day, I saw Fannin the Cannon, aka Deontay Wilder Foot Soldier, made a video, talking about Deontay Wilder's title defenses, calling it debunked, right? And he was basically saying in the video that Deontay Wilder defended his belts against legit top 10 heavyweights. And he was like on BoxRec, and he was showing, the guys that everyone is supposedly calling, bum title defenses. And he basically explained that all these guys that Deontay Wilder defended his belts against, they were all ranked in the top 10 in the WBC rankings at the time when he defended his belts against them. So he was basically saying, therefore, it was a legitimate title defense. It was a good title defense because these guys were ranked top 10 in the WBC rankings. The thing is, homie, I stopped respecting or really giving a fuck about the WBC rankings when the WBC made Bermane-Stiverne mandatory to face Deontay Wilder when Bermane-Stiverne hadn't fought in 2 years and he fought a bum. When I saw that, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with the WBC making Bermane-Stiverne the mandatory, right? So let's actually look at these fighters, because the thing with me is, when I look at rankings and I look at the fighters in the rankings, I don't really care if they're in the rankings. What I care is who the fuck these guys fought. That's what I care. When I look at these dudes, it's like, do these guys deserve a title shot against the champion? That's how I look at it. Are these guys known? Have they actually fought legit competition to earn the right to face for a championship belt? You get what I'm saying? So, even if they were in the rankings, that doesn't mean they earned the right to face for a championship belt. I mean, let's look at Eric Molina. All right, let's look at Eric Molina. If you actually look at Eric Molina, before he fought Deontay Wilder, right? Before he fought him, this guy fought Rafael Sambano. Rafael Sambano, a journeyman ×5, right? Was fighting Rafael Sambano worth him getting a title shot? Him beating Rafael Sambano means he was worth getting a title, means he was, worthy, a worthy challenger to be ranked in the top 10 WBC rankings to face for Deontay Wilder's belt. He was fighting guys like Theo Kruger, Williamson, Tony Grano. You notice how all these guys had a bunch of losses in the records? 7 losses, 2 losses, 39 losses. Nothing but losses. 15 losses. This guy was fighting nothing but bums. Eric Molina was fighting nothing but bums when he fought Deontay Wilder. And the one guy he fought who was a guy who at least I knew of was Chris Arreola. And he got knocked out in 1 round. And ever since he got knocked out against Deontay Wilder, every other guy that he fought that at least I knew of and I heard of, he got knocked out and lost against him. So it just goes to show you that he was a bum. So what's the point of him being ranked in the top 10 in the WBC when he was fighting nothing but bums? No one knew who he was. I had no idea who he was. And don't act like you knew who he was. Because ain't nobody was talking about Eric Molina before he fought Deontay Wilder, right? So, again, this guy didn't deserve a title shot, Mr. Eric Molina. Then you got guys like Artur Szpilka, right? You got guys like Artur Szpilka. Another guy that did not deserve it. Fannin goes around saying, Artur Szpilka was in the top 10 WBC rankings. Again, he was there, but did he deserve to be there? Was he a legit top 10 heavyweight? No. The dude was fighting guys like, first of all, the one time he stepped up against a guy that I actually heard of in Brian Jennings, he got knocked the fuck out. The dude was struggling with Mike Molo, for crying out loud. The dude was fighting guys like Manuel Quezada, Tyo Cub, 2 journeymans. And since he lost to Deontay Wilder, he's lost to every other legit guy who at least I've heard of. You get what I'm saying? So it just goes to show you how good he truly was. He's never actually beaten a dude who was who was actually a decent heavyweight, or maybe a D type of heavyweight, because he lost to Brian Jennings, who's really like a D type of heavyweight, right? Another guy didn't deserve to fight for Deontay Wilder's belt. Then you got Chris Arreola. The WBC had Chris Arreola in the top 10 in the rankings, in the top 10. So he was a supposedly legit contender for Deontay Wilder's title, right? First of all, Chris Arreola was shot to bits. Chris Arreola got a gift decision against Travis Kaufman before he fought Deontay Wilder. He lost against Travis Kaufman. Travis Kaufman, the same Travis Kaufman that got schooled and embarrassed against Luis Ortiz, that bum beat Chris Arreola, but they gave the decision to Chris Arreola. You get what I'm saying? But if you watch that fight, he lost to Travis Kaufman. And then he struggled before that to Fred Cassie, another bum. So by the time Deontay Wilder fought him, he was shot to bits. All right, he was like 35. He was shot. He was struggling with guys in the level of Fred Cassie and Travis Kaufman. And he had already lost to Bermane Stiverne twice. So how the fuck did he deserve a title shot, man? How the fuck did he deserve it? He shouldn't have been in the top 10 WBC rankings at all. Because like I said, he fought these two bums and he was struggling against those two bums, and he had already lost to Bermane Stiverne. Then we had Gerard Washington. Gerard Washington, I'm going to be honest with you. I knew who Gerard Washington was. So I could see how this guy might have been in the top 10 in the top 10 when it comes to WBC rankings. I'll give him a pass. All right, Fannin, I'll give him a pass right here, Mr. Gerard Washington, because at least he fought guys I heard of like Eddie Chambers, Amir Mansour. All right, so I'll give him a pass. And by the way, I gave Deontay Wilder credit for fighting Washington, so I'll give him a pass. That's one belt, one championship. That was basically the first time I gave Deontay Wilder credit as a champion, when he defended his belt against Washington, because I count Johan Duhaupas, Artur Szpilka, or Eric Molina, because none of these dudes, they were fighting nothing but bums. Then he fought Bermane Stiverne. I already told you, Bermane Stiverne did not deserve to be in no rankings. He wasn't even relevant. He hadn't fought in 2 years. I still don't know to this day why the fuck he was there. And how the hell we got that shot as mandatory? How was he in that position? Then he fought Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury, obviously, he's been in there against guys like Vladimir Klitschko, Derek Chisora. He's been in there against guys that we know of. So, obviously, and by the way, he hadn't fought in 3 years. So, I don't know how he got himself in the position. And he fought two bums, so I still don't know how he got himself in the position to be a top 10 heavyweight. You know, I think he was ranked top 3 in the WBC rankings when he fought Deontay Wilder. Again, I don't know how he got himself in that position, just because he was fighting none but bums in the last 3 years. But obviously, at one point, he was the number 1 heavyweight when he beat Vladimir Klitschko. So yes, I do give Deontay Wilder credit for fighting him. Luis Ortiz is another guy. At least he fought guys I knew of. He beat guys like Brian Jennings. I knew who Brian Jennings was. All right. Especially at the time when he beat him, because Brian Jennings had just come off a competitive fight with, what's his name? Vladimir Klitschko. So I do give Deontay Wilder some credit for fighting Luis Ortiz. So, in my opinion, Deontay Wilder's best, legitimate title defenses were against Tyson Fury, Luis Ortiz, and really Gerard Washington. That's just my personal opinion. I don't count Bermane Stiverne, because he didn't deserve it and he was shot to bits. I don't count Chris Arreola. He was shot to bits by the time he fought Deontay Wilder, and like I said, he got gift decisions against two guys who were basically ESPN fighter, top 30 heavyweights. Artur Szpilka, I don't give him credit for that, because like I said, Artur Szpilka didn't deserve that fight. Eric Molina definitely didn't deserve no fucking title shot, fighting fucking Rafael Zambano. And again, when it comes to these channels who defend Deontay Wilder like that, they always just talk about his recent fights, right? His recent fights, but they never talk about his past fights. Like, they never talk about his first 30 fights. They just talk about, he fought Luis Ortiz, he fought Tyson Fury, and a couple other of his title defenses, but they never talk about his first 30 fights. Why don't you make a video saying, how come Deontay Wilder fought nothing but bums in his first 25 fights? Make a video about that. You know, I certainly made several videos about that. I made a video comparing Deontay Wilder's title defenses to Anthony Joshua's title defenses. Why don't you guys who defend Deontay Wilder's Why don't you guys who defend Deontay Wilder's resume as a fighter and as a champion make a video comparing Anthony Joshua's title defenses to Deontay Wilder title defenses? That's what I certainly did. I made a video comparing these guys' title defenses. You notice how none of these guys who make videos defending Wilder, talking about his resume, his accomplishments as a fighter, you notice how they never make a video comparing their title defenses? Because if they were to make a video comparing AJ's title defenses, quality of title defenses, and Deontay Wilder's quality of title defenses, AJ would win all day, right? You notice how they never make videos talking about Deontay Wilder's first 30 fights? How come none of you guys make a video talking about Deontay Wilder's first 30 fights? Comparing his first 30 fights to Anthony Joshua's first 30 fights. Why not? Because you know he fought nothing but bums. And it's an embarrassment to make a video defending that, right? That's why you guys don't do it, right? You guys, like I said, make videos talking about comparing how Anthony Joshua had twice less fights than Deontay Wilder, and he was fighting these type of quality opponents, defending his belts against these type of quality opponents, compared to who Deontay Wilder was defending his belts against. You get what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder was fighting, people, Anthony Joshua fought Eric Molina. Well, Deontay Wilder fought Eric Molina in his 35th fight, right? AJ fought him in his 16th fight. AJ was fighting guys like Dillian Whyte, a guy who's ranked, who's a legit heavyweight. In his 15th fight, before he was even a pro, before he was even a champion, he was fighting guys like Dillian Whyte, a legit heavyweight. Wilder waited till he was 39-0 to fight someone who was finally legit in Luis Ortiz. It's just ridiculous, man. These guys will say anything to defend Deontay Wilder's resume. Make a video talking about Deontay Wilder's first 30 fights. Make a video and defend that. Do it. I dare you. You won't do it because you know his resume was absolutely trash the first 30 fights. Anyway, guys, I have to say thanks for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video and hit that like button, and I'm out.